Hi everybody, before we get into the episode, I just want to let you know that I have a brand new video all about gestrum piercings, also known as a vertical philtrum piercing, available now at patreon.com/RyanPBA. When you sign up to the $15 a month Archmage tier, you get access to this video and a bunch of other on-demand piercing content, all available at patreon.com/RyanPBA. I also want to let you know that I have an upcoming webinar all about bevel theory that will be on Sunday, April 19th. If you want more info or if you want to get registered, you can go to my website at ryanpba.com. You're listening to the Piercing Wizard podcast, and I'm your host, Ryan Willett. I'm a professional body piercer with 20 years experience. I travel around the world teaching technique and safety classes, and I'm a member of the Association of Professional Piercers. Listen in as I talk to my friends and colleagues about our industry so we can all stay sharp.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Piercing Wizard podcast. We are coming to you from somewhere deep in the heart of Florida. I don't know exactly where, and I love that for me. I'm here with my co-host, Ryan Willett.
Your fiancé.
My fiancé. My soon-to-be husband, Ryan Willett, who is glaring at me because I find it hard not to fidget when we record stuff. And I'm trying to think of something I can do with my hands that doesn't generate noise, like this.
Touch this soft fabric.
Okay, I'm gonna touch a soft fabric. We are in Florida for a couple of different reasons. We traveled from New Hampshire. We escaped a blizzard by about 12 hours, I think.
Yeah.
We made it down to Florida and we taught a seminar. We were hosted by Body Piercings by Bink in Tallahassee. And
I like saying that word, by the way.
Tallahassee?
Tallahassee.
Or Bink?
Well, both.
Well, it was a beautiful space. It was such a beautiful space. Studios in the US seem to be a lot bigger and have a lot more creative freedom than what I've seen in the UK. It was just such a beautiful space. I think it was formerly a house. Like it looked like it was formerly a residence. The layout of it suggested that anyway.
Yeah, I don't remember. They said that it was another business before they took it over. So it might have been like a residential building at one point. But just like in my area in New Hampshire, there'll be a lot of former residents that was turned into a medical office, a dental office, a veterinarian office. It kind of felt like that sort of a space to me.
Very comfortable, very welcoming. Loads of natural light.
The plants were
fantastic. Beautiful. And the whole staff were just amazing facilitators, I thought.
Yeah, thanks for the invitation. Like originally I wanted to just come to Florida. I wasn't very specific about where I wanted to go. Like I've done classes in Florida before and I usually end up, Orlando or something like that because I'm flying in and it's easier for me to do something in the city that I fly into. But I think that there's really nobody that wants to go to Orlando. So like I was thinking, well, why not try to get out? I've done a seminar in Fort Myers previously, and we're doing another one tomorrow. But Binks has invited me before, so I'm really happy that I could make it happen this time. So, basically we did we did one and we're doing another seminar. So 2 on this trip, but we started up at the north of Florida and then we're going to finish a little bit more towards the south on the west coast. And it's really nice. I'm glad that we got to make it. I'm glad that I got to accept the invitation. And I really appreciate the staff and how much work they put in to make a good day for the other attendees.
Yeah, if you can believe it, I think this was the first live seminar we've done together.
Yeah,
for like
private anyway, art, like a non-conference.
For like body art education.
Yeah, it's strange because like I never really thought of it that way because we've done so many different teaching events together. But yeah, this was our first private seminar that we've ever done together.
It definitely felt nerve-wracking for me because, I'm a very anxious person.
What?
So I know it's a shock. I hide it so well. But when you're instructing at a conference, an event where there's other speakers, it is very nerve-wracking. But the order that you place in the order of the day or the order of the weekend or the week or whatever, for me at least, that has some kind of bearing on how nervous I am. For example, if you're up first, you think, well, I'm going to give it my best shot, but if anything's not perfect, people have forgotten all about it by the end. Or if it's the end of the weekend, you're like, people are going to be a bit more subdued and tired, and you can just relax and have fun with them, so like where you fall in the order of things, I've always got a way of like trying to convince myself that it'll be okay because of this. But when it's like a private educational event like we were doing, it's like it's just us. There's nothing before or after, so if you suck, it's going to be really obvious and there'll be nothing to take away from it. So that definitely was like an anxiety that was new. I like discovering new anxieties. But I think that it went well. I hope it went well. I think that it did, but how do you feel it went?
I think it went great.
Yeah.
Like I've done enough of these kinds of seminars where I feel it's not a formula for me, but I think I know how to make the day worth it for the attendees. Like you don't want to just show up and like ramble. Like one of my least favorite things that I've seen instructors do in private classes is they go into it without a firm plan, and it turns into a day full of just like, well, I don't know, what do you want to talk about? I think that that's kind of a waste of time for attendees, especially attendees who are, paying for a class. So I always like to have a firm plan to know what I'm teaching. I want to have good material prepared for it. When you teach, like I know exactly what your classes are like. I've seen you do all of your various classes at conferences and other places. So I know what you can bring. So it's really just a question of like, how do you deliver that? I make sure that, I've got AV worked out in advance, but, really down to everything. It's like, where can attendees park? What are we going to do for a break or for food? Like, what are some other things that I can maybe provide for them to add some value to the day?
Right, because if halfway through the day you were like, I don't know, everyone just go and sort out your food or whatever, you might lose half of the people. People be late coming back. It would really like disturb the flow of the day.
If you did it in
you
a
arrange
place,
all of that stuff.
Yeah, if you did it in a place where there was like, multiple food options within a short walkable distance. Like I have done classes where everybody's just kind of like left to their own devices for a break. But with this one, so another thing that I really like at this point is I think that I've kind of shown what I can deliver. I've shown that I can make it worth it for people. And I think there are like companies, vendors, supporters out there who also see that. So now we can also potentially sometimes line up samples and donations from companies, things like that for the attendees, because they want to get stuff in front of body piercers who might not have already seen their product or held their product. So I'd like to give just like a quick little thank you to some of the people who donated samples. And like another thing too is I'm not on a pro team. I am not sponsored by a company or anything like that. But sometimes if it's a company I like working with, or if they're just someone that I met at a conference or something, and they offer something that I think is beneficial to the attendees, I'll accept it sometimes. So I want to say thank you to NeilMed Piercing Aftercare. They donated samples and travel bags for everybody, and they also really generously sponsored a lunch for Tallahassee, and they're doing the same thing for Fort Myers. Juniper sent a batch of samples so everybody can check out a bunch of their titanium options, which I thought was really cool. And Industrial Strength LLC sent a bunch of needle samples and other cool things for people to check out. So I always appreciate stuff like that when companies are just trying to make it a better day. Like they're not trying to make it like the such and such company presents Ryan and Lola teaching classes. Like they just want to send some samples to make it a better day for the piercers in attendance.
We should mention as well, it wasn't something that was pre-arranged as a sponsored thing, but the host studio amazingly also included for the attendees at the Tallahassee class Narcan and
little CPR packs.
CPR packs.
Yeah, those are really cool.
Because it was just something that they had from working with their local community to offer teaching and training on how to use and supply Narcan.
Yeah,
And I
they do
just thought
harm
that,
reduction classes in their studio. I thought that was really thoughtful.
yeah, that was really, really nice of them to offer that to everybody. I found that for from my perspective, I don't have your level of self belief and self confidence. It's not a surprise
Well,
to
I am an
say.
American male.
Well, I wasn't going to say anything, but yeah. So for me, when you're like, oh, we should go and do a class, we should go and do this, my honest to God first reaction is like, aren't people sick of me? Like, haven't I already instructed everybody on everything ever, and nobody wants to hear anything I have to say ever again? Like, that's the first thing that comes into my head. So I was really surprised that when we went to Tallahassee to do the seminar there, that the majority of attendees were people I'd never met. Like, the vast majority of attendees were people who I hadn't met. Several of them hadn't met you. Several of them hadn't been to a conference before. So it felt really good to know that the information that we shared that has been presented at major conferences around the world was being provided to people who either hadn't had the chance or the opportunity to go to those spaces yet. Like, I felt really proud of that fact. I don't know if you noticed how varied it was in terms of like the attendees not being people that we've seen at other events.
Like familiar faces from a conference.
Like, because when we go to BMXNet and UK APP and APP and various other conferences, I know you've been to Japan and Australia and Brazil, and like there are different people there every time, but there's always a core of people that you just see, and it's familiar faces, and there's always that sense of hi again, you know. But I felt like I knew nobody, and it was kind of lovely in a way to feel like, oh, I'm useful again.
Well, so a big thing for me is that I've learned a lot about how to teach and present and create a good event through my experience with the APP conference and all the other conferences I've been invited to. So I kind of feel like, well, if some of these people can't get to conference, I think I would like to bring some of that to them, you know? I've learned how to, operate on the schedule and prepare and all these things. So I really like to do that. And a lot of these people, I might not have met them in person yet, but I recognize, instead of a familiar face, it's these familiar names. A lot of them were already active on my Patreon. A lot of them I see really active in Piercer spaces online, various forums and websites, things like that, social media. And it's cool to be able to put a face to a lot of those names, because people are really like putting out a lot of fantastic work. And sometimes I have no idea what they look like. And then it's like, oh, you're this person. It's great to meet you, kind of a thing. So I love doing stuff like this. I love doing these little classes. It's fun.
We also wanted to give a little mention, a little shout out to Jordan. For once, not my Jordan, not my co-worker Jordan, but a different Jordan. One of the attendees has a sort of, I don't know if you'd call it like hobby or side hustle of 3D printing. Is it 3D printing?
It looks like it, yeah.
We think 3D printing little jewelry boxes for threadless end pieces.
Yeah, they gave us a couple of samples, and they're awesome.
So cool looking.
Yeah.
So we wanted to give them a little shout out. Their Instagram is jordanic.holes. So like at jordanic.holes. And they're making them themselves, and they're super fun. And it was really cool to get to play around with them, and they can use them you could use them in your displays, but you could also use them for personal jewelry collections, which I don't know if they're more geared towards, but they're really neat. So go on and just like have a look at them, because I think that they're super cool, and I love seeing innovation and people just doing things themselves. I always love.
Yeah. It's really smart. It's really cool. And like, I'm definitely going to use it for my own personal jewelry, because like, I don't know if you're the same as me. Like, you change your jewelry a lot more than I do.
I do.
But I have this massive collection of all the, like, my jewelry graveyard, basically. And I feel like if I had something like this,
probably worth thousands with the cost of gold.
Yeah, it is now for sure. But with something like this, I could put all of my old ends from like, my ear piercings and nose piercings and lip piercings in this thing, and then maybe it would inspire me to switch stuff up a little bit more frequently if I could see it displayed like this. But really thoughtful design, really clever, and I know that they have a couple of different models of it, different kinds of end piece configurations and stuff. So check them out on I believe Instagram, jordanic.holes, and maybe grab one for yourself, because you're supporting a piercer directly, but you can also have something that's really handy for yourself, for your own jewelry collection, whether you're a piercer or not.
Also, since it's just popped into my mind, since we were talking about a Jordan that's different from the Jordan I work with, we have to give a special shout out to Jordan for attaining his APP membership.
Yeah.
He just got that through a couple of days ago. So that's Jordan, or JJ underscore piercer. Is it JJ underscore piercer or JJ underscore piercing? I'm gonna look it up just now.
Well, he works for you. Also,
I
big
don't
shout
call
out to
him-
Jordan, because I tricked him into signing up for the Elder Scrolls Online to play with me. So we've been playing Elder Scrolls lately.
I don't call him by his Instagram name. Yeah, it's JJ underscore piercing. So Jordan and my other coworker
Kathy.
Kathy have both this year, I think, got through their APP memberships. Super proud of both of them. They've both worked incredibly hard.
Well, do you mean 2026, or do you mean in the last 12 months?
No, I think in so far this year.
Okay.
I think that Kathy's was January, but it was very recent anyway. And Jordan just got his through. I'm super proud of them both, and the way that they've, stepped up to handle things whilst I've been away. And as you'll know, my APP membership is something that means a lot to me. I've carried it with me through several studio spaces, and I have membership both at my studio in Glasgow and your studio in New Hampshire. And with me being on a bit of an extended absence, they've both attained membership now, so that Forest Piercing can continue being an APP studio.
That's incredible.
And offering that. And I'm just really proud of both of them for that. So I wanted to acknowledge them, because it's a huge deal. It's a big milestone.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work. And I just, I think that we don't get a lot of opportunities, or maybe don't take all the opportunities we should to celebrate positive achievements. So
Yeah. Big ups for
Yay!
getting through that questionnaire.
Yeah, yeah. So I didn't read Jordan's questionnaire, but I know how he tends to think very deeply about things, and I can only imagine how in depth some of the answers must have been. So I kind of want to, if I get the opportunity, to maybe look at it at some point. But I know that he'll have taken it really seriously. So very proud of Jordan and Kathy at Forest Piercing. But yeah, so far so good with our teaching trip. Tallahassee was great. These are all places that I've never been.
Well, then we went to Jacksonville, which is just kind of like a sillier, tourist kind of a town, and took a little bit of a road trip, and then we ended up here at our little cottage. We've been here for a few days to celebrate your birthday. Yay! So happy birthday, Lola Slider.
Thank you.
Tomorrow we're going to head over to Tiger Lotus in Fort Myers. Say hi to John and Felicia. We're going to do another class tomorrow with some of the familiar faces that we already met in Tallahassee. Some people that I've done classes with before. I believe 10 is coming out to our class tomorrow.
Oh, yeah?
I haven't seen 10 in years, so that'll be cool to see him. But I'm really looking forward to that. Maybe we can do a little recap of how that goes, maybe on the drive north. Then we're gonna go home. We're gonna go from the sun, the beautiful weather of Florida, back to blizzard land in New Hampshire. And I'm just gonna have to land and just immediately dig my car out, and then drive it home, and then dig out my driveway, and just get right back to the swing of things.
I will shout words of support at you from the car.
Yeah, drinking your coffee with your seat warmer and your Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really, really enjoying Florida, though. I don't know what I expected. And I don't know if it's because so much of the dialogue around visiting Florida is about theme parks and stuff. We haven't done any of that.
Well, except we had that one miserable... Okay, so Going from Jacksonville to Fort Myers means that you're going to pretty much go right through Orlando. So I was like, we'll stay in Orlando for a night to split the drive up. And I had the brilliant idea of booking this really cheap hotel. And it turns out that it was like one of the Disney Resort family hotels. And it was just screeching children at the breakfast buffet. And it was a little bit unpleasant on an otherwise beautiful trip.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
It was definitely a lot. But, interesting contrast to see that side of things. For people that like that, you're braver than me. But being out here, kind of in the middle of nowhere with just all of the trees and the wildlife, and if I don't move my hands, I'm going to go insane and my skeleton is going to jump out of my body.
So just play with the soft fabric. Don't make a scratchy sound. It's difficult to edit out.
Well, okay. Yeah, everybody should appreciate the work that Ryan does to edit out my many little sounds.
Yeah, see, the thing about it is like people will be like, well, what little sounds? And it's like exactly that.
You're like, you're welcome.
Whenever I finish one of these episodes, I have to sit down in front of a computer for 3 to 4 hours, taking out all the little ums and ahs, but also all the little like between, like when you rev up for a sentence, you start by going, and I can actually see it in the waveform, and I can actually like clip it out without even having to hear it. But before we continue, before we did this bit that we're talking right now, Lola got some bees in her bonnet about the Smiley piercing on the Olympian.
What?
So we recorded a thing about that. But before we get into that, for you, the listening viewer, I would like you, Lola Slider, to give me your Florida critter roundup.
I love all of the critters. It's been amazing. The amount of wildlife that we've seen just in the past couple of days from the wee cabin that we're in. And not just like, there's the animals, and then there's also like the plants and the leaves, and like, there's like what we call Spanish moss. I don't know if there's a different name for it here or if it's still called that, but there's this moss that hangs from the trees that's so abundant. There's like millions of it. And I'm like, they sell that for like £6 a handful in Glasgow because it's like, oh, it's so fancy and strange. And here it's like, you can't move for it hitting you in the face.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I just think everything is so beautiful. I love that it's humid and hot, because Glasgow is humid and cold, which is a sucky combination.
It's not a nice combination, no.
And New Hampshire is cold and cold.
Yeah.
So like it's been really nice. I've been enjoying the hammock. There are little lizards everywhere. There's a 3-footed deer, which isn't a breed of deer. It's literally a deer, and it only has 3 feet. One of its feet is missing.
We're staying at sort of an Airbnb. It's a little cottage, and it's kind of a wildlife refuge, not like an official one.
Right.
It's just they have a lot of acreage, and like there are tons of raccoons and deer and these little black hogs. And I think it's just that it's a safe place because they're not being hunted. So they're just kind of like hanging out and getting fed.
They seem to encourage these creatures to be on the land and be safe and chill out.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like they were rescued from other areas. I think the raccoons were rescued. Like if there are nuisance raccoons, they get picked up and dropped off on this property. Mm-hmm. And then like the deer with the missing foot, I would imagine was probably maybe a rescue scenario too.
So there's amazing birds, like so many beautiful birds that I've seen.
We went to Gatorland.
We did go to Gatorland. I liked Gatorland very much. I really wanted to see an alligator coming to Florida, and I saw like 500.
Yeah, you saw the dwarf. Was that a dwarf crocodile?
I saw the world's largest dwarf crocodile.
Which is kind of a contradiction of terms.
He was so big.
Yeah. We got to see some vultures picking something clean on the side of the road. That was interesting.
Yeah, but one of my favorites is this morning, for no apparent reason, I was outside and a puppy turned up. A puppy that obviously belongs to somebody nearby.
Because it was dragging a leash?
There's several. We've seen a couple of dogs. One of them we know is the property owners. And she's been very sweet and very friendly. She's a very good dog. And then there's another dog that's shown up who is owned by someone. I
I
mean,
think I like the landscaper.
they all seem very cared for.
Yeah.
But this puppy came up to me this morning and was just like the cuddliest, cutest, friendliest puppy. And Ryan has to calm me down sometimes with wildlife because I fail to recognize that some of it wants to eat me and kill me and that sort of thing. So I was trying to be restrained and I was like saying hi to the puppy and trying to just gauge if it was friendly. And within a minute, it was like on my knee, licking my face and then nibbling on my fingers. It was amazing. So I love it here. We have to leave in the morning and I'm going to remember it very fondly. I just want to take a million pictures. And it's still a huge novelty for me being outside and not being cold.
Yeah. Or not being shouted at by like drunk people.
Well, yeah. But, you know, sometimes the drunk people have a point, you know, depending on the situation.
Like when they just point and go, green hair. You do have green hair.
I do have green hair. Yeah. That's just a fact. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been lovely. Thank you so much for finding us such a wonderful place to spend a couple of days.
Well, you're welcome. Well, let's wind this down for now, and then maybe we'll record a little bit more after the Fort Myers class. Mm-hmm. All right. All right, so we are home in New Hampshire as we're recording this bit. We had a really awesome time in Florida, but we didn't have any extra time to record a little recap about the tail end of our trip, so we thought that we would do that once we get home. So what are some of your thoughts about Florida?
I thought Florida was great. Mm-hmm. I think that there's a lot of propaganda out there about the kind of place Florida is to visit.
Florida man.
I mean, maybe there's elements of truth to it. I don't know. But like, I don't know what I expected, but it definitely exceeded my expectations.
Mm-hmm. Lots of dogs.
So many dogs.
Yeah.
Lots of critters of all different kinds, really.
Really quick recap. We saw alligators.
We did.
Manatees. Mm-hmm. Dogs. Mm-hmm. Deer. Raccoons.
Yeah.
Wild hogs.
Lizards.
Frogs. Well, one frog.
And many types of bird.
Including vultures.
And an armadillo.
And an armadillo. Yeah, and like this wasn't just like stuff we randomly saw like driving by. We saw them like up close and personal, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah. I think that the experience that we had going out like into the middle of nowhere kind of thing to a small town and staying at a more remote sort of cottage area was really, really fun and perfect. And I think we both just had the best time. So we didn't do the kind of Disney Florida experience thing.
Thank God.
No shade to the people, to the Disney people, but you're made of tougher stuff than we are.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Yeah. So we already talked about the class at Binks. That was incredible. But the Fort Myers class was also a really fantastic way to cap off the trip. We got to see a lot of familiar faces. Some of the people that went to the Tallahassee class came to the Tiger Lotus class in Fort Myers also. We got to see 10 for the first time in a bunch of years. Mm-hmm. And, John and Rain and Felicia at Tiger Lotus. And it was a really nice time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed visiting both of the studios that hosted us this week because they were so different, but both fantastic. I feel like I said this, I think to John, that there seems to be way more diversity in what a studio can look like over here. I don't know if it's just because maybe licensing standards vary so much from place to place or what it is, but in the UK, like the studios look a lot more homogenous for lots of different reasons.
They look all the same over there.
A lot of it has to do with like limitations of renting and what's required of you for your license and all of that stuff. So
trying to fit plumbing into a building that's 1,000 years old.
Yes, lots of problems like that. So I don't know if that's maybe why there's a little bit more similarity. I mean, people do still put their own spin on things, but I feel like the bones of studios here, can just look completely different.
Oh, yeah.
So that's been kind of fun just seeing, I think a lot of artistic expression goes into how you set up your business surroundings if you work in that sort of career path, it's just always nice to see how it's interpreted.
Yeah, yeah, it's a well laid out space. You can kind of tell that it has the tattooer influence because it's obviously Felicia's shop too. So you have like the tattoo elements from Felicia's work, you have the piercing elements from John and Rain's work, coming together really well. And I thought it was great. I thought it was really cute that they still had the push pins up at the top of their wall from the
Yeah.
last time I taught a class there, like 6 or 7 years ago. So it was great. I just got to hang my projection screen right back up. But I did a class about tongue piercings. You did your class about Prince Albert piercings
Hmm.
as kind of like a preview. The thing about classes, like, I know that sometimes people write a new class for conference, but um, I wouldn't want the first time I teach a class to be at conference. I feel like you kind of need those practice runs in a way, those like runs in front of a smaller group of people. So it was great to do this class in front of like a dozen, 15 people and, be able to kind of like practice it and keep it sharp and know where I want to update it for my tongue class anyway. Do you feel that way with like your PA class and other classes? Like, do you want to update them after each time or do you feel like you get kind of comfortable and you leave it untouched for a while?
No, I update almost all of my classes almost every time.
Yeah.
And that's partly because I try and get new visuals whenever I can.
Yeah, I noticed that you
Um,
had, I think, at least one new video that I don't even think I've seen yet in the class that you just taught.
so yeah, pretty much whenever I get the opportunity, I improve my visuals. If I just look at it and think like I have thought of a better way to demonstrate that, then I update it, and I'll add in new bits of information as I learn new things. But the PA class is interesting because I've taught so many versions of it and done so many revisions on it. I've been doing it in the UK for many years
You did it
and
at
done it in
BMX.
Germany as well. And I was kind of getting to a point where I wasn't expecting to be doing it anymore. So I thought, oh, I'll, do this class with you. We'll go on a teaching trip and maybe, take it to some people that wouldn't have had the opportunity to see it before. And then sure enough, it turns out I'm doing it for APP this summer.
Well, I'm
Um,
sure you'll update it quite a bit by then
I
because
mean, it
like you've
gets
still got months to go before conference.
it's just one of those funny things where I was kind of getting to a point where I was thinking I'm probably going to have to put this away for a while and focus on other things, and then having another opportunity to share it with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um,
I think it's really helpful though because you have the UK perspective of intact anatomy, which a lot of US piercers don't. So I think just the sections talking about foreskin alone would be a huge benefit to an American piercer because like I didn't really understand a lot of different dynamics related to intact anatomy until I saw your class.
Yeah, it's just normal for me. Like from my perspective, it's not an unusual thing in the UK to have foreskin. Like that's kind of the normal, sort of the standard, and it's less common that you'll work on clients that have been circumcised. And in fact, the most recent examples I can think of working on clients that have been circumcised have had it done like later in life, like a
Hmm.
kind of opt-in thing. So it's definitely just a run of the mill thing, or as run of the mill as you can get with PAs anyway,
Hmm.
thing. So there's a huge amount of content that's centered around working on clients that haven't been circumcised.
Yeah. Well, if there's anybody listening that's going to the APP conference for 2026, definitely check out Lola's PA class. And I believe I'll be doing my doth piercing class, doth piercing, daith piercing, however you want to pronounce it. I'm definitely going to talk about the pronunciation in the class. But so I'm really happy with Florida. I haven't taught a class in a while, so it's good to kind of stay in practice, get some public speaking in. For anyone that's interested, I'm also going to be doing my Bevel Theory online webinar on Sunday, April 19th. And that's going to be the full understanding and applying Bevel Theory lecture. And then it's also going to be a workshop. So you can join from your studio, but also from home. We're not going to be piercing people, we're going to be piercing banana skins. So I'll talk about the different dynamics of bevel theory, I'll talk about needle modification, so needle crushing, needle flattening. I'll talk a little bit about needle bending, and we can do some workshop stuff together. We can practice, we can work our way through it. I think it's a really beneficial class. So if you're interested in learning a little bit more about bevel theory, especially if you might be maybe a cannula piercer and you want to get into blade needle piercing, that kind of North American style blade needle piercing, this might be a great class for you. So if you want to get more info or if you want to get signed up, you can go to my website, ryanpba.com. You can go to my Body Art Education by Ryan Willett Facebook page, and this is open to all professional piercers, all apprentices of any experience level. So you really just need to be working in a shop. This won't be open to non-professionals, hobbyists, things like that. It'll specifically be for working professionals, piercers, and apprentices. But everyone within that category is certainly welcome to attend. So ryanpba.com, or if you have any other questions, you can reach out to me by email at ryanpba@gmail.com.
And breathe.
And scene. Well, so we're going to kind of wind down this portion of the podcast, and then we're going to get into talking about Olympian Alyssa Liu and her really cool Smiley piercing. When we recorded a little bit previously, we mispronounced her name. I think I might have said Alicia or even like Alicia, but we just want to correct, and it is Alyssa Liu. So you go ahead and say it.
Alyssa Liu.
Alyssa Liu.
Yeah, I got a real bug up my ass about the topic of discussion this week, I think.
That's really unlike you.
Calm down about it now, but I was furious.
Fuming?
Yeah. You know how I get.
Yes, I do know how you're going to get, and I'm terrified to be married to you now. Yeah, so we're going to get into that conversation about Smiley piercings. Spoiler alert, we're fine with it. But we're going to get into that conversation. You can hear how intense Lola felt about it about a week ago. And now we're just kind of like, yeah, whatever. People already stopped talking about it. Do you feel like when piercings like this come up and piercers get outraged by it, like I think I saw somebody say it on Facebook, like people didn't even know what a Smiley piercing was until like all these piercers got up in arms about like, how dare you do the, hack kind of a thing, and be like, what piercing? So it's like, it's funny of like, you can just let pop culture pass right by you. And
Yeah,
sometimes there'll be
it's great.
piercings like, getting your finger web pierced or getting your Smiley pierced or getting whatever piercings, if you just don't talk about it, it will go away a lot faster than if you just scream into the void on Facebook about it, because then people are going to like Google it and be like, huh, that is kind of cute.
That's true, because pretty much all the pictures that I've seen of Smiley piercings this past couple of weeks have been from piercers sharing the pictures
And saying, don't ever do
saying,
this.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
But here's a photo of it
Right.
on this really cool looking person.
Right. That's a good point. Yeah. Yeah. How, like, it's an uphill battle to take a picture of Alyssa Liu, like gold medal Olympian. Seems like they have like a lot of positive energy. To take a picture of them and be like, don't you dare want to be like this person.
Yeah, that's just won a gold medal.
Yeah. How dare they be a role model with a cool piercing and interesting hair.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
Well, whatever. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get into that conversation. And I don't know, you got anything else to say?
I don't think that I'm that I don't think I have that much of a temper, really.
Okay, thanks for listening, everybody. Let's get into the next segment. Okay, you're all full of beans. What?
It's not all I'm full of.
She means the chocolate birthday cake. All right. So what are your thoughts?
Are we gonna introduce the subject, or?
Well, this is your shtick. You do it.
Okay.
Why did you ask me to hit record?
So there's been a lot of talk online recently about the Olympic gold medalist, the American figure skater.
What is her name?
Alicia Liu.
Mm-hmm.
And the Smiley piercing seen around the world.
Yeah.
Now, I'm imagining most people listening will know what Smiley piercing is. It's a piercing of the lingual frenulum that connects the...
Labial frenulum. Lingual frenulum is under the tongue.
Oh, I didn't know that. Labial frenulum, not lingual frenulum. Underneath the tongue, that little kind of like tiny banjo area under there. So I'm going to preface this by saying the gold in my teeth is not cosmetic. I mean, it's a little bit cosmetic. It's a little bit cosmetic because I wanted gold and not white. But it's not just there for fun. It's there because my teeth are fucked. And almost every one of my teeth has a filling. I've had at least 3 root canals. I've had an abscess above one of my incisors. It was the worst pain I've ever been in my life. Had an infected wisdom tooth, and all the rest of it. And I would say, to some degree, my teeth hurt every single day. To some degree, and I'm not saying that like it is what it is. Like, I'm not saying that for any other reason other than to let you know, like, I know about dental pain. I know about how important it is to have healthy teeth because my teeth were fucked by the time I was 21, basically.
How about before you ramp up for whatever you're ramping up for, I will also chime in and say that I cracked a tooth in half on my 2-gauge tongue piercing once. Yeah. And also, like, I have my upper lip and lower lip piercings on the sides of each. And I had to get 4 enamel patches, one behind each of them, because I wore like excessively large jewelry and it scratched down the enamel on the surface of my tooth. And my dentist said, if we don't patch your enamel, you're going to eventually lose those teeth. So all of those were very expensive visits to the dentist because of oral piercings.
Right. So my teeth were damaged when I was younger, for the most part. The damage that I have now relates to damage that I did then. So for not almost half of my life, I'm not that old yet, but for a huge chunk of my life, and for the rest of my life, I will be dealing with dental pain. Having said that...
And definitely has nothing to do with all the Coca-Cola.
No, it does.
Okay.
That's,
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, having all that in mind, I think people should really chill the fuck out about Smiley piercings for several reasons. Not just for like one particular reason, but like things just keep coming to me that make me like slightly... At first I kind of didn't give a shit, and then I was like, well, and I don't know if part of me is just contrarian by nature. I don't know if it's a little bit... there's a little part of me in the way I was brought up that's like, whatever the situation is, whatever the overwhelming opinion is, just for fun, think about the opposite opinion. I don't know if that's like something that just happens in my brain, but like, I think people need to chill the fuck out about it. And I have lots of reasons that I think of why that's an adequate assessment. But, before I unleash those opinions, do you have any particular feelings about it?
Well, the biggest thing that I would say is like, you can just take out a piercing. You can just take out a piercing. So like, I'll say that like I have performed Smiley piercings like plenty of times earlier in my career. I have not so much been asked to perform a Smiley piercing in over 10 years. If someone asked me because they saw the Olympian, I would most likely say no. But it's not in the same category as like horizontal tongue piercing for me. I think that we might be in an era where people are getting like theoretically outraged, like over piercings they've never done, piercings they've never seen, ones that they've never had to deal with for troubleshooting reasons. And like, I've done Smiley piercings where the people's teeth were perfectly fine. But there is the potential flip side of maybe some of those people that I did Smiley piercings on where I never saw them again, maybe they had a tooth problem. But the thing about it is like, a piercing like that can be done in what I would consider safe conditions. And then part of it would just be informing the client of like, this could happen, and if you see signs of it happening, just take the piercing out. But I don't know, what are you thinking? You seem like you're full of energy about it.
I'm trying... So I want to try and articulate the things that I'm feeling, because there are so many things that I don't want to like just ramble, as you know I am wont to do on occasion. But I think the number one thing that I first thought when I first saw everyone reacting to this was America, well, I shouldn't say America, the USA as a country values perfect teeth more than any other country on earth. Like having good teeth and having that be associated with you having high value as a person is intrinsically woven into American life. You're more successful if you have good teeth. You're more desirable, more attractive. So there's that element of it. And then there's also the element of how inaccessible and cost prohibitive dental care is, making it all the more vital to have good teeth. So there's the side where people are outraged that here's a young person who has dared to potentially damage one of their most air quotes high value features. And then there's also the other side of it where people are shocked that someone would have such a cavalier attitude towards a part of their body that can be so expensive to fix. And so naturally, those things combined have, I think, hugely contributed towards the media storm around this piercing. And I would ask people to stop for a second and try and unpack some of those feelings of assigning perfect teeth to high value. Maybe she knows it's going to damage her teeth. Maybe it will damage her teeth. So what if it damages their teeth? You know, like I'm not saying that it's without weight that this is someone who is going to be influential to hundreds of thousands, millions of young Americans who might go out and maybe don't have the resources to get their teeth fixed. So I'm not saying there isn't a weight to it, but I've seen pictures of that toothless hockey guy all over the news the last few days, the last week. I don't know what his name is, I apologize. But the images of the men's US hockey team winning, one of the big news pictures from that is one of the players with missing front teeth or half a missing front tooth. The hockey smile, as it were, is synonymous with the sport, it would seem. And it feels weird to me that on the one hand, we're seeing pictures of this guy all over the news with a missing front tooth, and it hasn't been mentioned at any point that hockey is something that damages your teeth. And admittedly, we're not talking about piercing there, but we are talking about the social difference I feel between a young, attractive woman doing something that could potentially damage her appearance and it causing such controversy. I can't help but stop and think about it a little bit.
Can I just say something really quick?
What?
I don't see it as causing massive controversy. I think that it's just that
it's been all over social media.
Only if you're in the in
the
her,
bubble.
her piercing
not outside of our
has
bubble.
been everywhere.
Nobody gives a shit. But
like I
inside
saw
our bubble, it's
a couple of satirical things. One where it was like figure skater uses gold medal to gauge her ear, which I thought was hilarious. But it's really just it's within the bubble, and I think people want to like be the top of the bubble. They want to be like president of the bubble. So sometimes like it's outrage in a way where I think it's got some positive roots in their mind of what they're trying to go for is like, I'm so careful, look how careful I am. But I don't think that should extend into judging someone else's personal decision about their body. It's not the same thing as the piercer didn't sterilize their needle or something that falls into like unsafe piercing. It's a piercing that you might not agree with. There are piercings that I don't agree with and I just don't offer them, like cheek piercings, etc.
I will say I don't know if this is true, but I have read that the Olympian said that they did it themselves. And which is kind of funny because I pierced my own Smiley as a teenager as well, amongst many other things.
Yeah.
But for me, where I started to become irritated was that people were posting saying, oh, I wouldn't do that because I have morals. I wouldn't pierce that because I have morals. I'm an ethical piercer.
That seems a bit much.
And that's when it kind of pushed over to me to a point where, because no one's really making fun of Alicia Liu, or not that they're making fun of anybody, but no one's mad at the athlete. They're mad at
The hypothetical
piercers,
piercer.
the hypothetical piercer. And the way that I feel about it is we have both, I'm certain, seen Prince Albert piercings that have migrated out, whether it's due to piercer error or whether it's due to the person just wearing completely inappropriate jewelry for an extended period of time. And the person has been left with a urethral opening that's substantially split, so they now can't, pee standing up anymore, and they're never going to be able to get that closed unless it's with surgery. We've also seen people who have, nipple piercings that have migrated out over time. And again, this can be due to piercer error, and it can be due to other factors as well, anatomical changes and lifestyle changes, where someone's nipple has been split basically due to migration, leaving them with a scar they're really unhappy with. Eyebrow scarring is massively visible. Bridge scarring is massively visible. And there's all of these things, but for some reason, when it comes to teeth, there's something about it that sets people off. And I think that my perspective, like I joke with you all the time about how, like, by Glaswegian standards, I'm fucking Julia Roberts with my teeth. But like culturally, where I'm from, the state of your teeth isn't necessarily correlated to your value as a person. In fact, the people that fly to, we call them turkey teeth, that fly to Turkey and get the cheap veneers and come back, they're probably more subject to ridicule than people with bad teeth, because everybody, it's really obvious that you've been and had that done. So I think that there is a cultural element to it that people inside the bubble can't see. Like, as someone with a lip plug, fairly modest sized lip plug, I have to make peace with the fact that even though I've had this for 10 years, and even though the damage to my teeth was done before I got the lip plug, and having the lip plug has actually spurred me on to take better care of my teeth because I know the harm it could cause. I have to make peace with the fact that one day I might lose one or several of my teeth because of it. Like, that's something that I have to have in mind in having this, and that's something that I knew when I chose to get it. And I think that the standard of beauty being that you have perfect teeth is one standard of beauty, and that it's just incomprehensible to a lot of people that you could be okay with the prospect of that happening to you, about not having perfect teeth, or doing something to yourself that could damage them. And then when I got to thinking about all of the stuff that's bad for your teeth, not just fizzy drinks, but smoking, vaping is bad for your teeth as well, and all of this other stuff, I couldn't bring myself to give a shit that there's piercers out there that are doing Smiley piercings.
Yeah, I don't even know what to say, because like it hasn't even been on my mind. Like, I saw the pictures where she was like making a big beautiful smiley face.
Yep.
And you could see her jewelry. I think the thing that bugged me wasn't that she had the piercing, it's that it looks like she's wearing a circular barbell with cone spike ends on it.
They're the worst. It's the worst possible jewelry you could be wearing.
I think the jewelry choice is going to be what could potentially damage her teeth. I don't think just having the piercing is a problem, because like you can mitigate damage depending on your jewelry. Like I said, I had to get those 4 teeth fixed. If I had properly downsized them and then the backings were like subtly nested into my lips how they are now, never would have had to deal with it. But it was the jewelry that caused the problem. It wasn't inherently the piercing. Like, how many lip piercings have you done just in like the last year? How many have I done? How many tongue piercings? How many whatever? So like, if you're going to draw a line under all oral piercings are dangerous, let's not do them, that's one thing. But if you're going to be like hyper selective about like, these ones are okay because they're more common, these ones are not okay because they're more rare, like it's like a kind of a fashion thing, a trend thing. Like, I think 10 years ago, people wouldn't have been up in arms about Smiley piercings regardless of an Olympian having one. I think 10 years from now, people probably will just go back to not giving a shit, but I think it's just because it's right in the news. So if someone is kind of using this piercing or the outrage over it as their opening to talk about safe piercing, I get what they're going for, but I think that their energy could be spent in a more productive and more positive way, rather than tearing someone down who, like, I would imagine this Olympian, you said Alicia Liu?
Alicia Liu.
I I didn't watch the Olympics. I didn't watch her event, but I saw clips after the fact, and it was an amazing routine.
Yeah.
That move that she did at the end, where she leaned back and grabbed her skate, and then like did a full split,
Mm.
and like it was incredible. So it's like I don't want an athlete to that caliber to have to wake up and maybe see that people are talking shit about her because of a piercing that brings her joy. And like her teeth look perfectly fine. Her teeth look better than mine. So like I'm okay just like letting someone else make a decision about their body and just let them continue on being happy with their piercing.
So I kind of was avoiding it up until it got to the point where people started saying you're an unethical piercer if you do this. And
Yeah.
for
That's just what they're outraged with this week though, because last week it was something else, next week it'll be something else.
if they were saying this can, if you're going to have this done, know that it can cause really severe dental damage and gum erosion. Know that if you're getting this done, that's a terrible style of jewelry to wear. She could be wearing jewelry far more appropriate than that. Like if that was the dialogue, I'm totally there for it because that's just, really good harm reduction to be putting out there for people that are seeing this.
Sure.
But when it comes to saying that it's unethical, that's kind of when I have to sort of hit the brakes and be like, okay, maybe I'm going to get drawn into this conversation a little bit. And for all that, I don't offer smiley piercings. I used to do them years ago. They were really popular with groups of young sort of schoolgirls. Like I say schoolgirls, sort of like, teenagers that would come in groups of 3 or 4. And I would do smiley piercings and I would do tongue web piercings, neither of which I offer anymore. When I opened up Forest, I just kind of moved in a different direction and it wasn't something that made its way back onto my service list. And then I stopped doing them and my apprentice never trained in them. And it was one of those things that just sort of fell out of circulation. But it wasn't because I thought it was dangerous or unethical. And when I would do these piercings, again, like yourself, I'm not aware of anybody that suffered any visible or long-term dental damage. Most of the time, these piercings were for short-term wear. Some of the clients that would come in and get them were at like boarding school or were in environments where they couldn't have visible piercings, and that's why they were all having this done with far less visible jewelry than Alicia Lou is wearing. And they were having it done because it was the thing that they could get. They were sort of hidden. And I don't know, I thought that there was something, I liked the energy of groups coming in to do this rebellious thing and trusting them to understand the serious damage that it could cause and understand that they can remove it at any time. And I don't know, I just feel like we're a funny bunch sometimes when it comes to picking and choosing where we draw the line at informed consent. And like I say, if there was a piercer posting tomorrow to say, I think unethical piercers do Prince Albert piercings because they have the potential to migrate and cause, like an enlarged urethral opening that can't be repaired without surgery, you would say that's a bit, out. That sounds a little bit strange if someone was to say something like that. So it's the things that we get frothed up about sometimes is quite random to me. I knew that people would post saying that it was, what would you call it? It was not the smartest piercing to get in terms of the risk it can cause. But I didn't think it would go so far as to see people like, again, I always feel the need to say when I say stuff like this, it's not about one person. The only reason I'm even aware of it on my radar is because dozens of people have been posting about it for days now. It's just weird to me, and I can't help but draw a correlation, however subconscious it might be to people, between associating your value as a person with the appearance of your teeth, especially when it's been juxtaposed with loads of press images of a guy with broken teeth that nobody's mentioned. Nobody's saying you shouldn't play hockey. So I don't know. That's how I feel about it. Do them, don't do them. But if you do them safely. That's more important to me than than anything else, I think. That's my 2 cents on it.
Side note, congratulations on your gold medal, Alicia Liu. That
Yeah.
was an amazing routine.
It was. It really was.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you got it out.
I did.
Okay.
I've exercised my
Your smiley demons?
my smiley demons. I feel like that was more than 2 cents. I feel like that was like,
It was 22 minutes worth of cents.
so
I'm
almost
gonna stop.
almost a quarter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stop recording now.
Bye.
For more information about the show, visit piercingwizardpodcast.com or like Piercing Wizard Podcast on Facebook. For more info about your host, visit precisionbodyarts.com or search Ryan PBA on Facebook, Instagram, and Tumblr. If you enjoy the show, you can subscribe on iTunes, Apple Podcast, and Google Play. Music by Benny B. Blanco. Show copyright 2017, Precision Body Arts LLC, all rights reserved.
We were hosted by Piercing by Bink.
Yeah, pause button. You're snapping your lips constantly. You're like,
Is it Piercing by Bink?
body piercing by Bink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Unpause.
Unpause.
We were hosted by Body Piercings by Bink.